Hi, this is Katie, the Pet Lady on Radio Air Network Project. We'd like to welcome our guest today, Anne Greenberg from Underground Chic. Underground Chic is a fabulous product, and it takes being green and green wise to a whole new level. Anne, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Katie, and thank you for having me.
We are thrilled to have you here. I have seen these purses and they are amazing. Please tell us what on earth inspired this.
Okay, so I was involved in the fashion industry, designing knitwear, but after doing that for 20 years, I no longer found it fulfilling, and I wanted to do something that was more meaningful. And at the same time, I also noticed that people's priorities were changing, and they were more concerned about global warming and the environment and how it was affecting their lifestyle. So then I decided, okay, I wanted to merge my love of fashion and make a difference. So that's when I created the Underground Chic, which is a collection of fashionable, eco-friendly handbags and eco-friendly handbags. And
What
then
was the
what's unique?
inspiration for Underground Chic?
What that's the inspiration for it.
Just
And then
underground.
no, why underground chic? Okay,
Right.
because why? Because the image itself is reminiscent of an icon image, which is a Hermes Birkin handbag.
Ah, okay.
So, so I have to be very careful about that, and that's why it's the underground chic.
I like that.
Okay, but what's actually very unique about the handbags is that they look like real leather, but when you look closely at them, you see that your eye's been tricked, and what you're really seeing is a photo image on fabric made from recycled plastic bottles.
That's amazing. How did you come up with the process?
I mean, the printing process
Yeah,
or the fabric?
the actual printing process. How were you able to find
Okay,
someone who could do
so
that
I
for you?
found what. Okay, so I used to go to China a lot and attend the Canton Fair, and I met um, different companies, and they were doing they were doing this type of digital photo printing. And so at the same time, my friend who lives in China had bought a handbag that had that this type of look. But then I wanted to make it look even more real. So the factory was able to print the image, to copy the image, but I wanted to make it look more real. So I added the metal lock and the hardware so that it really looked real.
And it is very classy. It's an extremely chic bag. What
Thank
on
you.
earth
Yes.
made you want to break into the pet industry, though?
Okay. So the pet industry is I wanted excuse me. I wanted to expand my business, but I wanted to be able to use the same concept as that I've been using for the handbags. So I noticed that I was looking around and I was trying to figure out what to do, and I noticed that in the pet industry, I didn't see that many fashionable but eco-conscious pet carriers and accessories. So I decided that I was going to take the concept of the underground chic and create pet carriers and accessories. Because I took, like for my poop bag pouch, I simply took my cosmetic pouch and shrunk it and then added an eyelet in the back for the poop bags to be pulled out of.
That to me was just a stroke of genius. I thought that was so cute.
Thank you. Thank you. But,
So,
yeah.
What about the designs that you saw that you didn't like that you were able to improve on with yours?
Okay, first of all, some of the bags were made out of leather, which I totally didn't think that sort of worked with pets. I wanted to do something that was cruelty free, and so that people that are vegan could also, would be very happy using the pet carriers and accessories. And I also thought that some of the bags were too boxy and they didn't fit under your arm properly. And they were not attractive at all as far as I was concerned. So that's how I decided that, okay, this seems to be a really interesting niche. And I like niche markets, and so I launched A Pet with Paws.
A Pet with Paws, an eco-friendly package. Why is eco-friendly so important to you?
Why is it important? Because I think everybody needs to realize that our environment and our planet is very precious. And that instead of taking all those plastic bottles and just filling up landfills or throwing them into the ocean, that they could be reused and repurposed by having them melted down and then new fabric made from them.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a polyester fabric. And that's what the plastic bottles are made of.
Now, I can't picture you actually going through a refuse hump to find your plastic bottles. So how do you get
No.
people to contribute?
Okay. So, excuse me. I knew about this fabric. It's called RPET, which is recycled PET, which is a polyethyl. I forget what the second part is. And so I was looking around on the internet, actually, on Alibaba, for factories that were making this type of fabric. And I found one, and so I went to see them. And the gentleman, first of all, on his big billboard with his sign and the name of his company, he had recycled RPET fabric. So I thought, okay, that's number one, very interesting. So then I went in, and then I saw how he actually makes the fabric. Once the plastic bottles are melted down, in the process, it becomes like a cotton puff. And in his factory, the people take this cotton puff and they put them on individual needles. And then it's extruded into fiber. And then the fiber is plied into yarn, and then the yarn is woven into the fabric.
So it's actually an actual woven product. It's not just a sheet of plastic.
No, it's a woven product. So that the woven product is actually it's washable, so that like on the handbags or the pet carriers or whatever, you can just take a cloth with a little bit of Dawn or detergent, kitchen detergent, and just wipe off the bag.
So they truly are waterproof.
Yes, they're absolutely waterproof. Actually, this is an interesting situation. A friend of mine was carrying one of the bags, and she and her husband were caught in a terrible thunderstorm, and they got completely drenched. And when they got back to their hotel, she took everything out of the handbag, and it was totally dry.
That had to be a pleasant surprise.
Yes, it was a very pleasant surprise. And then later on, the handbag dried. The outside.
Oh, how do you choose the designs that you have for your purses?
Excuse me. Well, so right now, for the purses, okay, I want something that's different, that's not out there. So I do the photo printing, and then I've taken vegan leather and I've had it embossed with a really interesting image that sort of looks like part of a more utilitarian type of handbag.
Okay, now for our listeners out there that don't really understand what a vegan leather is, could you explain that a little bit for them?
Yes, okay. Vegan leather is simply polyurethane, because people that use PVC is polyvinyl chloride, which is very toxic. So, so the vegan leather is made out of PU or polyurethane.
Okay.
The other material that I use is a suede that's also made from the recycled plastic bottles. The same factory that makes the woven fabric that that's printed on, they also make a suede
Okay,
that
so
feels and looks
not,
like real suede.
It's not a leather. It's not a cloth. It actually is a vinyl type. So no no animals died in the process. No animals were experimented on or tested on. So
absolutely not.
It is a violent-free product.
Yes, totally.
Where do you find your inspiration for your prints and the other designs that you have on the product?
Okay, so I love the creative process, and I just, as I, excuse me, just walk around, I sometimes see things and I think, oh, this would be interesting if I could translate it onto a handbag or the pet carrier. And that's basically how I find the inspiration, and then I work with the factory in having it translated so that it will work on the handbags and pet carriers.
Now, I heard you use the word photograph earlier. If I were to send you a photograph, could it be put on one?
It could. Because, yes, it could. Because, I mean, besides the one that I do, I mean, this factory has other images that they also, apply to the handbags.
Mm-hmm. So if I wanted to buy a pet carrier from you, for example, and I sent a photograph of my eldest dog, Zeus, who's a Yorkie Terrier, and I wanted his image on that pet carrier somewhere, could that be done?
Well, yes, it could be done actually using a different process. It could be done using it's like a heat transfer process, and then that could be done. Actually, it's very easy for that to be done on cotton, and now I'm experimenting to see how it will work on the fabric that's made from the recycled plastic bottles.
Okay. What excites you most about this product?
I guess what excites me the most, number one, is the people in the pet industry. To me, they're so nice. They're so excited. They love animals. And so, I mean, the excitement and the enthusiasm just feeds off one another. And I like creating things, so I wanted to create something that was really different and not available in the pet industry.
Oh, it's definitely a brand new idea for any of the pet products that I've seen out there. And Underground Chic, I don't think it does it justice, because this is such a beautiful product. I can't imagine any fashionable pet owner that would not want one of these. What is the basic price range? Just give me a
Okay.
ballpark figure so our listeners would have an idea of, do they need to save up? Is this affordable? Is this something that they can plan on gift giving at Christmas?
Okay. So the pet carriers themselves, first of all, they come in two sizes: 16 inches wide and 18 inches wide, and the height is about 10 inches, so that they're airline approved. That was also important to me because I wanted something that would be functional, and so the pet carriers, the small one retails for $165, and the larger one retails for $175.
And if
And
anybody
then,
out there has priced any good pet carriers, you'll see that that's a reasonable price.
right, because some of the ones even that are made out of, a synthetic leather are like 200 and something dollars. So, but
And
then
most of
I
them don't
also,
last.
right. um, and but I was thinking about an item that could be as a small gift giving type of item, or a stocking stuffer, and the poop bag pouch itself, that it can attach to the leash or can attach to the handbag, that one retails for $19.99. And then I have another item, which is a doggy backpack, which is the backpack itself is attached to a harness. And then there's the eyelet, so that the dog is carrying his own poop bags, and either the owner could put the poop bag that's filled with poop into the backpack until they get someplace where they can dispose of it, or they can fill the backpack with treats or whatever else they want.
What a great
And then,
idea.
and thank you. And then the last item I do is a wristlet, because wristlets are fashionable right now. And so I figured, okay, I create a separate compartment for the poop bags, and there's the eyelet in the back so they can be pulled out. But then there's room enough for a person to carry even an iPhone 6 Plus, because that's what I have. So I made sure that it could fit the iPhone, and then it can fit keys, credit cards, sunglasses, whatever, and then just go you can take your pet for a walk and go shopping. And those are my four products, and that one retails for $40. Oh, I forgot, and the doggy backpack retails for $45.
Well, I would highly recommend anyone who is looking for a unique and interesting, different kind of a gift to give your family or your friends this year for Christmas that you seriously take a look at Underground Chic. If someone wants to reach you or look at your website, how can they do that, Anne?
Okay, so I actually have I have two separate websites, one for the handbags and one for the pet carriers. So the handbags are the Underground Chic, CHIC.com, and the pet products are on a petwithpaws.com. And that way, everybody can take a look and see if they think this is the right item for them,
I think that's a
which I
wonderful
hope that
idea.
they do.
I
Excuse
hope
me?
they do too. I said I hope they do too.
Hmm.
In our last few minutes here, I'd like to talk to you about your charitable donations. Tell me about that, and how did that come about?
Okay. So I partner with an organization called Trees for the Future, so that for every item, whether it's a cosmetic bag or a poop bag pouch, a handbag, a pet carrot, whatever it is, a tree is planted as recognition for that item. And I mean, I think this, this is the way that we can make sure our environment will still, you know, be somewhat pure and create oxygen and everything else. So that's how I decided to partner with Trees for the Future, and they plant the trees all over the world.
That is absolutely a wonderful thing to do, and we commend you for that. We have listeners all over the world for the Pet Lady Radio Show, and I have no doubt that those listeners that are overseas are glad to hear something like that, because I don't think there's ever going to be enough trees.
Right, exactly.
We tear our world down as fast as we build it, so this is such a great way to build back and give back. What's next for you?
Well, I'm thinking about new products to make. I'm very practical, so when I design like my pet carrier, it's very practical. I mean, I think about the animal or the cat or the dog that's going in it, and that's how, they'll be comfortable. So I was thinking, though, the next item might be taking the carrier and putting it on like a trolley so that you can wheel it.
That would certainly come in handy at the airports.
Right, exactly, because if you're carrying, I mean, the carrier will hold a 20-pound dog or cat, but it gets heavy. So that's why I thought I'm working on creating this carrier, actually, that slides on to the handles of the carrier, and then when you get to the plane, you can take the carrier off and fold up the trolley part. So that's one of the items that I'm working on.
That sounds like a fantastic idea.
Thank you. And then I always just try and think of, new images that people will sort of recognize, but with a wink. And so that's the next thing that I'm working on.
Well, let's give them those websites again. I want to make sure that everybody knows how to reach you.
Okay. So if people are interested in the handbags, I'd like them to go to www.theundergroundchic.com. And for the pet products, you can find all of these products on www.apetwithpaws.com.
And thank you so much for your time today. And I know that what you're doing for our world and educating our young people out there in ways to help our society survive even longer is just wonderful. And we're so grateful with your charitable donations for the trees for each product that you have that's sold. That is very commendable. We appreciate that. We'd like to thank you for being on our show today, and we'd also like to again thank Radio Ear Network Project for allowing us to bring this information to you. If you have suggestions, if you have pictures, if you have stories, if you have concerns, feel free to email Katie the Pet Lady at pet.lady.katie@gmail.com. I will be more than happy to answer any requests, any suggestions. Send us all the information you want. We want to hear from you. We want to know how you feel about the shows that we have. If there's anything that we can do for you, that's what we want to do. We want to bring all the fun stuff about the animal world to you, and this is just another installment of that information. And it's time to let the dogs out.